Hello to everyone. Today's lecture focuses on water resources, and the main topic of today's lecture is water resources. In this lecture, we will discuss about water resources, their distribution, uses, growing pressure, shortage issue, conservation methods, and the role of government. In this lecture, we will discuss water resources in very detail. First of all, water is a vital natural resource, as we all are aware with this, and its sustainable management is very crucial for our life and development. In this context, we will discuss more on water resources. The today's outline of the lecture is water resources, distribution of water on earth, uses of water, domestic, agricultural, and industrial purposes, pressure on water resources, shortage of water, conservation of water, steps taken by government to conserve water. So, in this context, first of all, water resources include all natural resources of water that are useful for human and ecological purposes. Although water is very essential for all living organisms, only a small fraction of Earth's water is available as a fresh water, making conservation extremely important. Just because a very small fraction of water, especially the fresh water, is available with us, so its conservation is extremely important. And so it is very important to understand that how our water is distributed in different components, right? So in this slide we highlights that water is unevenly distributed on the earth. About 97% is water, of total water is salt water, and only a very small fraction, that is 3%, is fresh water. Most of the fresh water is locked up in glaciers, ice caps, while a very small portion is available as surface water and groundwater. Correct? So, this is very clearly you can see in this slide, and the further classification that the atmospheric water, soil moisture, swamps, water in swamps, rivers, you can see very clearly. In this slide, we will try to understand the domestic uses of water. So, uh, about 15% of the water is used for domestic purposes. This includes drinking, cooking, bathing, washing, sanitation, gardening, and other household activities. Domestic water may come from public supply system or private sources such as wells or rainwater harvesting. And if we are talking about the agricultural uses of water, so the agriculture is the largest consumer of water, and about 70% of the available fresh water, using nearly 70% of the available fresh water. So water is very essential for irrigation, crop growth, fisheries, and livestock. Plant also need water for photosynthesis and overall productivity, making agriculture highly water dependent. In this slide, we will understand the uses of industrial purposes, water resources. So, industries use water for cooling, processing, washing, transporting materials, and power generation. So, industries like chemical, paper, and food processing consume large quantity of water, and the industrial water use also contributes to pollution if not managed properly. just because of in industrial water, specifically in industrial effluent, it is highly rich in BOD. Lots of heavy metals, toxic chemicals are present in industrial effluent. So it is very very important that we should treat our industrial effluent or industrial water before discharge in any open land or on the surface land. So it is very important to treat before the discharge. So the pressure on water resources. So just because of increasing population, urbanization, industrialization, and poor management practices have put immense pressure on water resources. Although water has increased, policy decisions are still driven largely by economic and political consideration rather than scientific understanding. So it is very important to understand. And in the next slide, which is shortage of water. So, what is the reason of shortage of water? So, despite water covering 70% of the Earth's surface, or we can say two-thirds of the surface is covered with the water. So, the fresh water is extremely limited. The fresh water is extremely limited, as I told you in my earlier slide, that only a very small fraction of water is available with us for drinking purpose only. Right? So the fresh water is extremely limited. A large population lacks access to safe drinking water. Water scarcity leads to health problems, sanitation issues, waterborne diseases, especially in developing countries. So, as a result, some 1.1 billion people worldwide lack access to water, and a total of 2.7 billion find water scarce for at least 1 month of the year. Right? So, in this continuation, many of the water systems that keep ecosystem thriving and feed a growing human population have become stressed. Especially rivers, lakes, and aquifers are dying up and becoming too polluted to use. So this is very important to understand what are different types of problems associated with the water resources. Now, the very important subtopic is water conservation. The thing is how we can conserve our water in different manner, different ways. So, for at domestic level, at the household level, we can conserve water or we promote water conservation, which begins with simple behavioral changes such as turning off tap, reducing shower time, and avoiding wastage. Right? These are some basic things which we can follow in our daily life. Installing low flow fixtures and adopting rainwater harvesting can significantly reduce water consumption. We can also conserve water at industrial scale. So industries can conserve water by adopting efficient technologies, recycling water, and conducting water audits. So reducing water use lowers operational cost and helps protect limited freshwater resources. Right? And at agricultural level, again, at agricultural level, our agriculture requires to improve water management through efficient irrigation methods, soil management, water cycling, and organic farming practices. Right. So, since agriculture consumes the most water, conservation in this sector is critical. Agricultural agribusiness places some of the greatest demand on fresh water in the US especially and the around world. So according to the latest statistics provided by the United States Geological Survey, farmers use 138.92 billion gallons of water a day for irrigation, livestock, and for aquaculture. So you can imagine the burden on the water resources. So it is very important to conserve our water in different ways. Some government initiatives are still taken by government to conserve water, which you can see in this slide that the national water policy has been formulated. Department of Water Resources RDNGR advocates rainwater harvesting. So this policy promote that as much as possible we have to conserve rainwater, conserve water through rainwater harvesting and through other methods. Creation of a new Ministry of Jal Shakti for dealing with the all matters relating to water at one place in an irrigated manner. Right? So these are some basic initiatives through which we can conserve water. Like in this manner, our Department of Water Resource, Central Groundwater Authority, Central Groundwater Board, all these are working, and time to time they are producing guidelines to conserve water, to save water, to protect water, to promote rainwater harvesting. So, this is very important to conserve our water resources, protect our water resources because water is very precious, very limited, and especially the fresh water is very limited, and only a small fraction of water resources available with us. So, please conserve water, protect water. Thank you so much. This is about the today's lecture. Okay.